Hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching. Liam Hartree here with another episode of Presenting Champions. Today joined by Liam Duffy, who is a multidiscipline fighter, who's competed in bare knuckle boxing, where he's European champion, competed in boxing, where he's won multiple belts there as well, for different promotions. Has had a very exciting life story outside the ring as well, which carries an important social message, as always with my interviews. This isn't just about fighting, although Liam is truly a veteran fighter. This also carries an important social message about men's mental health, about how Liam turned his life around from street life, basically from crime, robbing drug dealers, drug dealing, debt collecting, all types of stuff like that. Won't give too much away here, but stay tuned. This is going to be a hard-hitting interview. So, Champ, like I said to you before, thank you, mate, for coming on, and thank you for making the time for this.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, good. All right then. Well, let's get into it from the beginning. Like I say, obviously we will talk about fighting and stuff, but let's talk about your early life first of all, growing up, and yeah, let's start there. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a state called Canterbury in Bradford. Really, it was a really rough estate, but it were all right for us really, because we all grew up together. It wasn't really rough to us. I had the best mum and dad in the world. They spoiled me to death. I was a little spoiled one to be fair, but me and my best friend Spencer, we always stuck to each other. We weren't really fighters or like little shits like everyone else. But really, we were scared of everything all the time. Because little lads were doing stuff we want. So we were just growing up for ages. I didn't start boxing until a bit later on. So we were little scaredy cats really. My mum and dad always didn't want me to box, so I didn't till later on. And then I did that. Then started getting into little fights and stuff like that on the estate, running away from police, smashing through windows and stuff like that. Just being genuine little estate idiots. But no, as I was growing up, I probably had the best upbringing ever. My mum and dad were great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So that's where it all started. That's where the journey started for you. So when it came to getting into boxing and starting doing a bit of boxing and that transition happened, how old were you then? Like what sort of time was that?
From like from like six to 10, I was going into boxing gyms and stuff like that, but not really getting into it. And then a real good friend of mine, Chippy, introduced me to a lad called John Midgley, and then he trained me like 11 years. And then I just got obsessed with boxing then. And I would in the gym with him every day, and he was an absolute beast of training, and he never let me stop really. So I know that, and I didn't want to stop. I was obsessed being around him because I was always younger than them all. So I was going around with all these men, thinking I was like them. And I was like from like 10, 13 year old, and then just growing up with them all, thinking I was like one of the men in the gyms. They were amazing. So John was obsessed with Muhammad Ali. So obviously on the streets, and I was like a little brawler, a little like a little slugger. And John took me from that to footwork, slipping, and then he trained me how to just completely be amazing in the ring. Not saying I was amazing in the ring, like, but to be such a slick boxer and just like him really. So no, I very rarely got hit when I was sparring and boxing and stuff, and I was boxing really good. So I was all down to John, and I always fancied John for taking me down all the time for the life and soul of me. And I was always training with them. So and I was boxing in and out, but once you get to as a young teenager, it's hard to commit to something. Or your mates do it, all your mates are doing this or birds or doing this, and it's an attractive lifestyle what you think of. But they never let me. They never let the fight say, "Oh, I'm off to go with my mates." Like, no, you're not. You come in a gym. You come in a gym. So everyone and dad loved that side of it. I can't keep them away from all them lot people. So they always did really kept me away from it all for until the end. So
Amazing. So that's the boxing. That's not what you were like as a teenager. That's very cool. Obviously we'll come back to the fighting shortly, but I'm just going to detour this just for a moment and talk about some of the street stuff and some of your life outside of the ring and everything like that. Let's touch on that side of things. Can you still hear me okay, by the way? Is it still okay? Yeah, that's cool. Just checking, because I did have one where it cut out the other day. That's cool. So yeah, so talk to us a little bit about like the some of the drug dealing and the robberies and some of that type of stuff. With this, I don't have a specific question, but just let's start with how you started getting drawn into that lifestyle.
To be fair, I didn't really touch drugs until I was in my late 20s, really. But we used to, me and my friends used to go out on nights out, midnight, but everyone would be in toilets and stuff like that. And me and my mate, it was 8 o'clock, so we'd take it off the dealers, give them an idea and stuff, and then push it down the toilet. Never sell it on or all that not for a long time anyway. And then obviously growing up, see them all with the flesh cars and the decent clothes and the top birds and stuff like that. And it's like, you want a slice of that? So we started selling a bit of this and that, and like going and doing this, doing little bits, but you're never making like how they're getting all this top money and we're not. So obviously then we start doing stupid stuff and robbing them and carrying on with them and stuff like that, and then it would just getting out of band, and then we think we were bigger than them, and it would have turned into silliness really. It was fun at the time, the taxing and the selling. It was at the time. It was energetic. It was funny. But you don't realise when you're that young and that stupid. You don't realise the dangers of it. We didn't. I do. Me and my mate, and we started working for a certain guy. They'd send us to people's houses, debt collecting for him, and we were debt collecting for quite a lot of money for quite a lot of bad things, and we were coming up against people that didn't give a fuck who you were. They'd blow you straight away. And to be fair, we're that naive. You never thought you were going to get stabbed or shot or it never happened. So it's never going to happen. And then one day we walked into this house, so we all ended up having a bit of a fight. I just seen this man just running upstairs. So just about the off chance of chasing him upstairs, managed to get hold of him before he got hold of this bedroom door, pulled him back, give him a bit of an eye, opened the bedroom door, and the bedroom was full of guns. I thought, fuck, if he'd have managed to get hold of one of them, would have all been blown away, not thinking all about it. We're all about 18, 19 year old, like stupid stuff, but never, it would say, kind of got boring fast because the money and stuff were, well, you couldn't really spend it, and every time we did get money, we'd just blow it on a night out anyway, so it wouldn't have it. But for a young lad, that lifestyle is so attractive. You've all got the big cars and all got everything, the big chains, everything. It's like, that's what you want to be, but then you don't realise how shit it actually is.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. I'm constantly telling kids these days, keep back it and stop it. But no, I couldn't ever be told either, so.
Yeah. Well, it's a good message as well about this is the thing, when you get into the life, it's nothing like what you think, and I get where you're coming from.
And as well, you realise when you're actually working for people, you do all the grafting, all the working, and all the dangerous shit, and they're getting all the money. You're getting a tuppence of what they've got.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
They argue back to them even.
Yeah. So just to touch on that a little bit more, and then we'll get back into the boxing and whatnot. Obviously, debt collecting makes sense, going to houses and all that, the dealing, most people know what that's like. With the taxing and all that, though, like with the robberies and stuff, I don't know how much you can say about this, but if you had to describe like what a robbery was like, what was it like? Would you just corner somebody like what in a club, or was it like?
We were doing the pub, but like we'd bring people up, ask them to drop things off and stuff, and then we'd just get when they turned up in cars, we'd just absolutely annihilate them and take everything they've got. But and some of them like nowadays they don't carry that much around with them. They've got a bit smart on it, but they used to carry around thousands and stuff in the cars and have the load of coke and heroin, everything. So it would have seen, and they were always easy targets. Lads that were coming in the cars, they were like little skinny, like I don't know why they had the balls to drive around anyway. Obviously, people they're working for looked after them, but we were supposed to rob them all the time. We could get away with it as well. Like whenever a couple of times we had some people ringing up saying, "Fucking idiots, you've robbed our lad." And if you get caught like that, then fair enough. You rather have to fight your way out of it, or you apologise for stepping on the toes and being an idiot. But sometimes you can get away with it, and sometimes you don't. We've had people in there saying, we're going to come to your house and stuff like that. And that's one thing that, they say there's honour amongst thieves, and when you mention people's families and stuff like that, it changes. Obviously, I would always look, whenever they came, wanted to come to your house and stuff, and I'd never unthreatened a family man's home, but people do. So a friend of mine, he's woke up and he's smelling petrol poured all over his house where his kids are in bed and stuff like that. What, for a couple of grand, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
A friend of mine woke up with a double barrel shotgun in his face, next to his wife. It's stuff like that. It's just not worth living.
Yeah, that's right. It's not worth it in the long run. And how do you feel about it now, though? I mean, when you look back on it now, I mean, do you regret it?
I wish I had known how exactly what it was like, so I could be like, you fucking idiot. Why would we even be attracted to stuff like that? But any lad living on a estate, I don't know any lad that's grown up on a estate that had a little dabble in doing something or stuff like that, because you just can't help it. It's just something that you're always going to just gradually, eventually fall into. Most of them don't need to do it. You do it because you haven't got fuck all, you want to make some money, or you do it because you want a name, or that. But it's everyone that I know, even still does it now, still says it's shit and it's stupid.
Yeah.
It might look good and they might go around with fast cars and stuff like that. You're constantly looking on your shoulder, the police everywhere all the time. And that's another thing now, that you can't get away with all the police have done everything, and it's a fucking nightmare. So that's the bad thing about it. They're never gonna stop, is it? So bless them. We've tried. Me and my friends will sit kids down and talk to them quite a lot, actually, especially when we're on the gym. It's something else to do it all the time, but it's still you can go to blow your face. You just don't think it.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Last question about that, then, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Of the three, of debt collecting, dealing, and taxing, which one would you say at the time was like the highest earner for you? Like, which one had the most cash involved?
Definitely taxi.
Yeah,
definitely. But you couldn't spend the money. That's the thing. You'd have it all, and you couldn't spend it.
Yeah.
But people knowing why I couldn't have skin full because I've got all the money. It's like they've obviously taxed off us or over it. Stupid.
Fair enough. So the last thing, we've sort of touched on this a little bit, but like for people who are out there and they're still into that lifestyle or they're getting into that lifestyle, like especially the youngsters now out there, what would you say to those people? I mean, you've sort of touched on this where you said it's not as good as you thought and all that type of thing, but when it comes to like directly giving advice to people who are getting sort of sucked into that type of thing, what would you say to those people out there?
Advice would be go to a gym and find someone that's actually been there and done that. I was lucky really when I met I met older the lads that's done it or doing it. So I was kind of lucky that they could tell me stories how shit it was instead of getting the lads to older lads that tell you how good it is than say how shit it is. So I'd rather them just listen to the shit stories. But it's a lot of it. There's a lot of stabbings and stuff going on now. It's now worse than it's ever been, and that's what scares me. So it's just literally go to a gym or go to somewhere where, or who's the baddest man there was fine. Just actually talk to them, because any one of them men, I know for a fact, want to talk. They'll sit you down and talk to you. Even the arsehole men that I know, they will actually tell lads not to do it, certain stuff. Like if you're gonna sell, but there's certain stuff just don't do. And I've always expected that on some of them that are absolute arseholes, pricks and can't fight for their life, but they will be decent saying, do it this way or do it a better way. Which is not okay, it's silly saying better way of selling drugs or taxing, but there is just don't do it, but they're gonna do it. It's the only way I can say it. Just find someone who's gonna talk sense to you. I'll give you a clip down here. That's always every time I got out of line, I got a little clip down here by some artist man in Bradford. So like, stop it, little prick. They're all the like chippers mates and stuff like that. They'd take me out and then they pull me back home to mum and dad. Like, get that little fucker on. That's what you need, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing though is you said about like obviously there's a theme here about like the advice and about giving advice and about like all that type of thing. Now you've done a bit of coaching, haven't you, with like the youngsters as well,
Yeah. So me and a friend of mine, Scott Midgley, we both opened a gym. So we had a little dream, me and Scott. So we wanted to go up to the gym, a boxing gym. We wanted to get this, like the baddest kid on the street, on the state that no one gives any shit for. Like got jail or dead, or we want to get him, and if we can change his life to stop him from doing that, then we won. And that was a little dream. Obviously, we couldn't do it because lockdown fucked us over the gym, but we still constantly trying saving some little lads. Because you see them all the time, and a lot of people on the stage, they'll say, that little fucker's got no chance in life, he's not going anywhere. The more you tell him that, the more that's what he's going to do. And it's heartbreaking. So we just wanted, me and Scott will sit there and listen to that kid constantly, because that's all they want. That kid wants to talk. He wants to. There's a reason why there's something wrong with why mentally want to kill people and smash things up and sell stuff and do that. We'll take him to gym, just let him unleash for a good few hours, and then you'll get him to talk. And if we could save that one lad, then money's not an issue. Money's not an object. It's that's the only thing that we cared about. So we're still trying to do that all the time. But then again, it's getting that one to want to go as well. A lot of adults are stupid enough to not let kids trust you. So kids won't trust adults mainly. So it's hard to get them in. It's hard to get them to trust you, to speak to you. So you're trying to be a mate and get them to talk how they're feeling and stuff like that. So we try as best. And there's now like there's little lads out there. I know for a fact they do stop doing stuff, and they'll come and say much straight, and they're like, oh, I feel this happening, that's happening. And I'm so proud of them for actually saying something. I felt you feel like I'm proud of you, because otherwise you'd have been smashing each other's windows or shooting each other. And it's just that little dream that we have. Those do.
Yeah. Well, it must be so rewarding, having that impact on people, especially like because you've been there yourself and you've done it and everything. I got all the respect in the world for that, man. I mean, it's not a question, but like just being a mentor, being a guide to people, like, all the respect in the world. So, to you and Scott, well done. Yeah, yeah. Good. So, all right then. So, moving past some of that. So, during this time that you were like doing the debt collecting and the taxing and all that stuff, were you still boxing, or had you like come out of it?
Yeah, I was boxing up to like I was boxing, but I was boxing at like 10 stone. I'm only 5'6", and my daughter was born, and then I took 2 years out of boxing like an idiot. But I went from 10 stone to 16 stone. When I came back to boxing, I was boxing everywhere, and it was just a totally different game. You're never going to have that natural power as what they have and stuff like that. So it were things like I had my first daughter at 16 years old, so we tried to juggle that with training and stuff like that, and it just won't work. I couldn't train, and to be a boxer, you've got to train constantly. It's got to be your life. You can't have much of a life. You've got to put your heart and soul in boxing. I just wasn't doing it. So when I was stopped boxing for 2 years, come back to fighting, and I just went up for it. I was just saying when I was coming to fights, I wasn't big enough. It was so big. They hit totally differently. Like they laugh at you as well. Like it's an easy night for them. But that just pissed me off. They just made you want to do it more. Like I'm going straight back to gym morning. I just kept losing fights constantly. I'm off straight back to gym. And then I just kind of get the hang of it. Man, we're all right.
Yeah. So with the boxing fights, I mean, do you know like how many fights you've had, or is it just so many you've lost count? Yeah.
Not a clue, because obviously, like everyone knows in the unlicensed game, like the selling trophy, you can get a phone call within an hour, so can you just step in for this and step in for that, and can you do this? And well, look, you started off like being a pal. We'd go over to Leeds on bus, and we'd turn up and we'd be sat there all day, and we'd get there at 12 in the afternoon, we won't fight till like 10 at night. Not having a clue what we were doing, and we were fighting lads that had been boxing all their life, and they were amazing, you know what I mean? So me and my mate were just, we weren't sure what to do. It was fucking amazing. It was amazing, because the atmosphere and stuff, it just took you away, because you go to boxing shows, and you don't have to sit down meals and stuff like that. There's not really much of an atmosphere. You start going to these licensed shows, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. It was so raw. Like, there were places in Middleton and Leeds, and it was fucking beautiful and mental. There was never no kicking off or carrying on, but there's some of the characters that were in there. Like you watch stuff, you're like, you'll be on down with that Daddy Day of the Deadliest Men. So it's like, you're in the room with these people, you'll have, you felt like a god, like, you know. It was just a different feeling.
Yeah. And share with us a little bit about some of like your proudest moments, like in boxing, because obviously you've won titles, you've done like a lot of good stuff, you know?
Proudest moment, probably, I thought a lad, he was 6'9", 22 stone. I ended up broke 4 of his ribs on one side, but when I realised I was fighting, I didn't realise I was fighting him until I walked into the ring. And I literally looked at him, I turned around to the mate Stuart and Chipper, and my dad, I'm fucking no chance of fighting that. And the other, probably the most proudest moment, was I got a phone call to fight about bare knuckle down at Bad to the Bone. But it was only like 5 days notice, so I called Keith. So I rang the mate Jim Whiteley, who was not a fighter, he was just a beast trainer. He was fighting like, but he trained me for 5 days. Just like, I never really trained for, I didn't know how to train for bare knuckle. So Scott should like teach me a little bit of, because to transition in from boxing to bare knuckle and A-bales to the ring, two totally different worlds. So when I got Jim to spar with me, we just literally beat each other up for 12 rounds. Like, he'd end up going to the toilet to throw up and I'd be passing out in the corner, and it was mentally bad. So we went down to talk anyway. I told him fighting Keith, that was fine. And then I'm walking around, I see Scott and my mate Spencer laughing. I'm like, what are you two laughing at? He said, you're fighting twice. I said, you what? He said, someone dropped out, so I told him you're going to fight again. I thought we were joking if you fight on the first fight. So from most come over, said, is that all right? Like, no, but again, we was like, oh yeah, gotta do it. I won the first fight in first round, and that was amazing. You know, absolutely, it was electric. And then I walked out to fight the second time. Lost the second fight, but it was just, so I have 2 heavyweight bare knuckle fights in one night for the most thing. And obviously, you got your guys with 2 pals there, 3 pals there, and then there was all the Welsh ones there. So there was a lot of good names there. And also just to fight in front of them as well. It was like, I was tearing up, proper crying. Everyone was proud. And that's the thing, it's like a little buzz. Everyone's like, oh, like, sometimes you walk into a venue, no one has a clue who you are. And when you walk out, everyone's talking about you. That's that little buzz.
Yeah, that's an amazing insight into the feeling as well. And yeah, with the bare knuckle boxing and things like that, I mean, how different is it in the actual fight in terms of like the punching?
I was never really interested in bare knuckle boxing. I used to, because I was such a big passion for boxing. I always said these bare knuckle fighters can't fight because they're not fighters. So my mate Scott was like, he got me into it. So there's a big story about behind that. But Scott got me into bare knuckling, and I fought this lad called Michael Orr, who's supposed to be like the least of the fighters out of them all. He actually spangled move in seconds. I was like, what, totally different. I was like, fucking hell. So, but then you've got to get the passion. Because then I started watching the likes of James McCrory and Rashford. And I thought, when I watched them fight, like, they are fighters, they're fucking warriors. And then obviously I've got a massive passion to watch Sean George. He's absolutely, that man's an absolute fucking animal. But Scott Ridley, to me, he built bare knuckling. Well, he was one of the few that did, so he was a massive passion. So obviously me and Scott both grew up in Bradford. I knew about him, but I didn't really know him. But one night, on a night out, a bit drunk, Scott was like, oh, why don't you give it a go? Like that, no, but he put it on Facebook saying, oh, Liam Duffy's going to bare knuckle. So I couldn't really say no, but then we went from there, and we were just fucking, we never left each other side from then. We were probably the closest mates ever. But I kind of blame him for all the fucking hiding up now.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. And obviously, you know, we've got to touch on the European title a little bit as well, like a little bit more and everything, because like in terms of winning the fight, what it was like for you, what the reaction was like from your community, what went through your mind. I don't really mind like which angle we go, but just what the experience was like winning a big title like that, you know?
It's a bit of a funny story. So when I took there were 2 people who arranged to fight the European title, some Polish guy and I forgot a lad called Craig, I think we're called. Well, Craig couldn't fight, so Christian rang me the Spartan promoter. He said, Liam, can we fight this Polish kid in 2 days? I was like, yeah, of course I will. So European title, I'm not going to turn that down. So as I get told, I get to the venue, we're like, oh, he's not fighting you. He's been told that you're a gangster, you're a gypsy, you're this, they wanted more money. They were just basically trying to get the company to pay for more money fighting me. So they're like, no, so they don't stop back on the plane that day instead of fighting me. So I'm like, you're an absolute bitch, mate. So I was walking on the venue, 4 lads dropped out on me that day. So I'm like, fuck, I'm not going to get a fight, I'm going to fight. So what I will say about Spartan, they will always find you a fighter eventually. And they've got this lad called Dion, I've known him for years. He jumped in and we just had a bit of a brawl. It was great. And then to be called a bare knuckle champion is something I've always wanted anyway. But when you actually get it, it's like having an out of body experience, looking down and it's like, fucking hell, wow. It is. It's not, but you feel like an absolute god anyway if you want, but you burst into tears and you just go back to show your parents it and how your friends are looking at you and stuff like that. Like, I always say when I started bare knuckling, I always wanted to make Scott proud. Obviously, like one of my little heroes is Scott. So, like, oh, Scott went the European title. He was crying for me. So he was so proud of me. I was one of the things. Can't explain the love you have for it. And then once you get it, you can't let it go. Then it's unbelievable passion.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. I love asking that question because obviously it's something that the fans don't see and other fighters will know. But it's like, look, getting inside your head for a minute. So with that in mind, you won the European title. I know I mentioned this at the beginning about some of the titles you've won, but how many titles are we talking altogether? Because you've won a bunch of stuff in boxing, isn't it, as well? And
I've had 8 altogether.
yeah.
Yeah, I lost 1, 2. I lost 2. Kept all the rest through boxing, and then I've got the bare knuckle, the European bare knuckle title one. But I want more, a lot more this year. I want to just keep going, put it up there. So
Yeah.
Been quite abroad, so that's what I'm heading to.
Amazing, yeah. Okay, so we'll talk about some other sides of your life outside of the ring now in a minute as well. But one of the last questions about fighting for now, just because I want to move into like the mental health and a couple of other things. Basically, in terms of like everything you've achieved, you've won a bunch of belts in boxing and benefit boxing, all this. Where do you want to go from here? Like, what do you want to do in terms of like the fire in your belly to like who you want to fight next and everything?
Well, to be fair, a few months ago, I pretty much gave up, to be honest. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to carry on with anything anymore. And then Dean Lister, who's the head Spartan referee now, he's my coach now. He kind of gave me the kick up the arse a couple of weeks ago, and he's not just saved my life, he's given me the passion again to fight for bare knuckle again and train every day. The man, he is mini Hitler, and he is the best strength and conditioning coach and the best coach for bare knuckling I could ever recommend to anybody. But he's just when you kind of like I lost a fight and then I just kind of felt like not carrying on. When you lose, you kind of get that once where you want to go back and want to redeem yourself, or you absolutely hate yourself and you can't carry on. So it's balancing them out. And one of the things that we're heartbroken about when I win my European title, I had over 1,000 missed calls. When I lost my 5, I had 2 missed calls. I was like, it's a massive thing. I didn't want to come out of the bedroom for days and managed to speak to Dean and it was like got me the buzz back. So this year with Dean training me, I literally with Dean in my corner and I was training me, I feel like I can go as far as possible. I'd love to fight over in Canada. I know something's happening over there. There's things happening in Mexico and America and stuff like that. But just little steps. There's a lot of people who jump, say, I'm going to go there and there. I'd rather, go little steps. Got some ABL fights to be doing, some ring fights to be doing, and then gradually go over broad then.
Amazing. Now, I want to talk about something here that I know is like special to you and sort of important to you in terms of getting the message out there, and it is for me as well. In terms of like going a bit deeper into the mental health side of things and going a bit deeper into some of your struggles, because it sounds like a cliche, but they say about some people with depression, they say, oh, your toughest fight's outside the ring type of thing, It sounds a bit like that with yourself. And I know that this is something I don't know how easy it is to talk about because of what it is, So I respect that. But in terms of like the mental health side of things and like some of your struggles with like suicidal thoughts, depression, whatever it is. Can you share a little bit about that in your own words?
The thing is, once got to like 25, started obviously drinking, taking cocaine. But a lot of people say it's a session depression, come down off coke, that's what's getting to you and stuff like that. And you start to believe that. But really, it's literally like, I've got two disabled children. I used to blame my depression on that, but then they got better, and then I blame it on something else. There's always something to blame off. Then I realised it's me that's got the issue. It's me with the dark thoughts. So I was literally just taking drugs. If it wasn't every day, it was every second day. Drinking myself to oblivion 3-4 days at a time. And so that's where I would walk up and down train tracks trying to go. I never had the balls to do it. And because I didn't have the balls to do it, I hate myself for not having the balls to do it. And I tried hanging myself a couple of times, and then it'd go wrong because I'd do something for it to go wrong. But the only me that knows that, because I was really just asking for a cry for help. But the one thing that, like, I was ringing people, wanting help and stuff like that. Luckily, my friends, there's a massive influence in my life, Stuart Compton. He's always there to speak for no matter what hour, but he's always there. So, listen to me, and that's what a lot of men these days, they haven't got someone to talk to, or that I went through things a long time without speaking to anybody, because as a man, you feel like shame to let people think how you feel. So I won't tell anybody out, and I was bottling things up for years and years and years. And then eventually, you're only human and you're going to break. And then when you break, luckily, nothing actually went drastically wrong for me. I have friends that have, and I know friends who've got friends who jumped off the bridges and hung themselves and stuff like that. And it's just for the fact of not talking, literally not talking. I found as well the best thing for if you're scared to tell what your friends are going to touch you as, talk to a stranger, because a stranger can't touch you. That's what, or you can't care what a stranger thinks, kind of thing. So I found it was a lot easier to talk to people I didn't know. And then I'd start to try and help people that were going through similar things, but acting like I'd wear a mask and thinking I was being strong by helping them, but really I was just bottling it away, putting their feeling and their hurt, making it my task to make them feel better, but really I was making myself feel worse. A lot of people take on a lot on that they can't handle, and I was one of them. And I just, when you listen to people's sad stories as well, or you think to yourself, no, my life can't be that bad. What you're whinging for, it's just getting worse and worse. And then you're doing stupid things, and you just feel like letting your kids down. It's a vicious circle. Vicious circle. The best thing I found is if you go to the gym, it is the best benefit in the world, which is always there for everybody. But, for me, once I didn't go to the gym for a long time. I gave up all fighting. I gave up going to the gym. I was laid there, drinking myself and taking drugs to death. And I went to the gym, and then within that one day, I felt great. I think the all went away. Doctor tried everything to help me. I would end up with psychiatrists and stuff like that, and nothing worked. No medication worked. No doctors would work. The second I walked to the gym, I was absolutely fine. And then you keep it that way. As well, when you say, I'm never going to do that again, you're lying to yourself. Which that's what I found for myself anyway. So I've got friends now who constantly try the best to keep in touch with me. So I make sure I'm staying there for 22 hours what I'm doing. Where is it? And that's what you need. You need like a group of people who's got each other, ringing each other all the time, checking up on each other. A lot of these days you get those people who want to talk to you, want to go out, or you need friends that like just constantly just message here and there. You need to just let people know you care about them, what you're thinking about them. You might not even be thinking about it, but you want it to be thinking about it. It's a massive thing, and I just want any lad just to talk, because everyone's got something going on. Even if you're the happiest man in the world, you've still got something little there. And it's sad to see, it's horrible to see, but I know a guy out who was out a few weeks ago, a really big guy, he was sat outside, he broke down crying. He was on his own, he wasn't doing for sympathy or anything, he was on his own in the corner crying his eyes out. I went over and hugged him. He let out all his stories of the flat, but the happiness on his face, that's what give him a hug. I'm like, that's what you want. You want that hug. Even if someone you don't even know, you just want that. Come on, there, keep going. Instead of, get a grip, stop whinging. You want something, get a foot talk. Because soon you're still getting a balance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, I gotta say it's amazing that you've come through it, and I'm genuinely happy for like how you're pushing through it, and you're obviously in a better place. But as well as that, like the advice for people as well that you've given there, brilliant advice, absolutely brilliant. Because obviously, yeah, I mean, so many people think that they're the only one to go through it. They think they're alone, they don't know how to speak to people and bottling it up. It's the worst thing you can do. As you said, the best thing you can do is speak to people, and obviously, yeah, the gym, like the feeling you get from like the warm feeling, like the endorphins and all the good chemicals and that. I mean, absolutely cracking advice for anyone out there who's struggling. Um, I think that advice will really help them, because you've been to like rock bottom and you're coming back up, and it's just, yeah,
I always say to myself, don't think like when you're feeling really good, don't think you're at top. So once I've been like when I walk down at Rock Solid and stuff from 1800 and Robin and stuff, you start to think that you're doing good for people, and then all of a sudden it just hit you. And like James helped me out a lot, talking to me and stuff like that, and Robbie out as well. So it's little things like that. It's nice to see people noticing as well. When you feel down, you're not yourself, like that, you are just a little bit. Just sometimes you need to not think yourself and think what others are feeling as well. That's what I'd say.
amazing advice. And like I said to you, when we were setting this up, it's a big goal of why I do these is to inspire people, help people, everything like that. And the message you put out there, I really think will help a lot of people because, as you say, I mean, so many people are going through it actually, but when you go into it, it's a very isolating feeling and everything. And it's powerful advice, man. I mean, I'm really glad that we get to talk about that in here as well as the fighting. And I want to touch on another thing in your life as well, like another challenge that you're pushing through. Is obviously your children have had their own health problems as well. Was that going on like during the time that you had the depression and things, or was that like,
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was when my daughter, we have a daughter when I was 17, and she was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis when she was 3 weeks old. And we never heard anything to do with cystic fibrosis. So it was all doom and gloom. We were constantly thinking she was going to die. She was having a rectal prolapse. She was having surgeries after surgeries, and the fact of having to hold my daughter down while they were putting long lines in her and she was screaming and stuff like that. They were mentally draining and they were just destroying her minds. Like wow, wow, wow. And the other daughter, Madison, is exactly the same. The physio, I used to do a thing where I used to film it all and put it on Facebook just to show people what it's actually like. And we're just horrendous. And I used to think that used to be the reason why I'd be upset or down, or I'd blame it on that. And obviously, it was just the fact I was feeling down anyway. But cystic fibrosis was it was like the second or third biggest killer in the UK at the time. So we were like, wow. Luckily now they've got this new drug that's closest thing to a cure they can ever get. So they're out of us all now. But back then it was absolutely destroying. Just to see your children be like that. And not having, we used to spend 2 weeks at a time, every 3 months, we used to spend 2 weeks in hospital. And we weren't able to leave the room. And we were just, luckily the support from his parents were amazing. So that was, their mum would go up and stay with them, and my mum was always there. Like it's so hard because some people that got off the road. We were lucky we always had a family unit. They always looked after us, so we were lucky that way.
and they're doing a lot better now though, by the sound of it.
This new drug, they outrun everybody and they'll outlive us all. It's like it's not even there anymore. That used to be constantly poorly all the time, and now they're just not. They're perfect.
Oh, that's amazing news.
Yeah.
I can say, yeah, that's really, really good news. Um, yeah, and it's a good thing that the awareness is of it as a disorder is growing as well, I mean, that's the other thing. You know, so I'm glad they're doing well, man. I mean, nothing to do with you, just from me to you. Like, I'm glad that, you know, things are a bit better in that area. We've touched on a lot of stuff today. I mean, like the past, present, future, and everything we're fighting. Um, one of the things I'm going to ask now is one of the last things is about like shout outs and about people you'd like to thank.
Yeah.
Because the reason I ask this question is there's a lot of people doing good work behind the scenes. And as we've gone along this, you know, we've talked about some of them, right? You know, we've mentioned some of them, we've mentioned Scott and Dino, and we've mentioned different people and your family. But like, are there other people, you know, sponsors and other people who've helped you, training and fans, or just anyone else you'd like to give a thank you to who's out there?
I don't really go for sponsors anymore like I used to when I first started. But and obviously, and a massive shout out to Shuey down at the Underups Boxing Gym. They've done amazing things for me, letting me train there and pushing me. And massive shout out to Rock Solid as well. They're exactly the same. They go down there whenever I want. They help me. My mum and dad, perfect. All my family, Scott, Spencer, Chippy, Stewart. They're all everything. People say that boxing and bare knuckle is like it's an isolated sport, but it's not for me. It wasn't for me. I always had I always had Scott's help with stuff. Like Scott was like I also called Scott in my era. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So every time I went to a bar fight, he was there. And like Dean's now with training, he's there. Spence were always there. So my mum and dad were on really they wouldn't go. My dad never got a boxing, my dad never got a bare knuckle, but they're always there, they're always on phone. So it was always a family thing for me. And I'd always class them all as family. So that's a shout out to all them really. And obviously the people that buy the tickets, tickets are the hardest thing about a fire. It's when you first start, your friends will you can sell 150 tickets. Now you've had over like 100 fights, stuff like that, or you've had, you know, so many fights, you can't sell any tickets. And that's the heartbreaking thing because promoters always want you to sell tickets. So fans that do actually travel up and down the country with them, they have done for me. My friends and family have travelled up and down the country for me. I can never thank them enough.
Amazing, absolutely incredible. Well, I mean, we've gone in depth here. We've talked about a lot of stuff. I mean, like I say, we've talked about the mental health, we've talked about physical health, we've talked about fighting and, you know, coming away from crime. We've talked about a lot of stuff. So I'm very happy at this point with the content and like depth of the content and everything. Before we wrap this up, is there anything else you'd like to say about to anyone watching this? Any other advice you'd like to give at all, or are you like,
No, everything really. Just obviously, if anyone is struggling out there, just speak to somebody and just it is okay not to be okay. That's all it is.
yeah. Well, that's yeah. I mean, it's a wonderful message. Like I said, you when we were setting this up, I'm all about the inspiration and the hope and everything. So the fact we've been able to put that out there, obviously, it's a fun interview talking about the fights and talking about like that side of things, but talking about like some of the deeper stuff. I'm over the moon about it. So the last thing for me to do is just say thank you for your time, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for being an open book. You know, thank you for just sharing all this stuff without shame and just like from the heart. You know means the world to me. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.